This week, we'll discuss the brand manual. Welcome to week 5 of your capstone project. We'll look at building a brand manual, the importance of a brand manual, what goes into a brand manual, additional types of standards, translating a brand to products and promotional items, visual identities, and advertising. What is the purpose of a brand manual? The purpose of such a guide is to establish a consistent application of the brand identity across all marketing efforts. A coherent look and feel of all branded communications is critical for building a solid brand image. Any use of the brand's logo, taglines, and other brand elements must adhere to the standards set forth in the guide. Before you begin, ask yourself the following. Who will be using the guidelines? What will they gain from using them? Where and how will it be assessed or accessed, and why the guidelines are being produced? The question here is it really needed? Well, it's often asked, is a brand manual or identity standard really needed? Well, here are the top reasons why you need a brand manual. To enhance marketing and sales efforts so that effective use of the brand logo, design, and expression generate a positive impact. To avoid physical distortions and deviations from the true design and character of your brand. And to remind people that behind the brand is a company that invites trust and confidence. Remember, many hands touch your brand, from printers to package designers to TV and other media sources. Without a brand manual, there is nothing that protects the integrity of the brand. This is why a brand manual is so valuable. What happens if you decide not to do one, or that you don't need one? You may see inappropriate or indiscriminate use of your brand, its logo, and its taglines. You can find the incorrect colors being used, different characters, and improper positioning of the logo and slogan on promotional materials. There may be careless handling of the brand, causing confusion and cheapness. You also may encounter discrepancies in brand elements or lack of cohesion or harmony in presenting the various elements into a unifying whole. And there may be inconsistent messages that result in poor sale. Who will use the manual? This is a list of people and departments that could be using the manual. Management, marketing, design, PR, writers, customer service. Remember that a brand is not just managed by the designers, but all associated with the company. A manual will ensure that the integrity of the brand is being maintained regardless of who handles the design. What goes into the manual? The mission statement. This is a spelled out organization purpose and guide. It guides its branding and marketing actions. A mission statement will offer a foundation for strategic planning, providing a clear path for decision making. The brand purpose. Here you'll define the core purpose of your business, including why your business exists, which will serve as the basis of your brand. It is a promise you make to your constituents, typically your customers. Touch points. Your organization reaches out to its target audiences in a variety of ways. Every touch point is an opportunity to strengthen the brand and convey its distinct spirit to customers and prospects. Touch points may include home pages, landing pages, traditional or online advertising, direct mail, customer service, email, industry events, new business development, employee relations, social media, PR, and promotions. Key messages. This is something else that goes into a manual. Key messages serve as a foundation for all written communications. These brief statements, 3 to 10 or so, are high level and reinforce the organization's mission statement and brand/business purpose. The tagline. Taglines are memorable phrases phrases that summarize a brand's personality and substance. The guide will specifically describe how and when taglines are to be utilized in all types of communications. The logo. It's a primary visual symbol of the brand, appearing on every marketing piece and providing instant recognition of the organization's efforts to reach its target audiences. The brand guide will offer a logo design rationale and history. It will dictate exactly how, where, and when the logo is to be utilized, placed, and positioned. Correct logo fonts, colors, and sizes should be indicated, as well as examples of how to properly use the logo. You'll want to include examples of how the logo should not be altered or used. You'll also need to include the color palette. Color is a key part of a brand's identity. It's important to define the print and online color values for the primary colors that should be used in all mediums, including promotional items. Include both the Pantone and web-friendly color value and show a sample swatch for reference. If you have accent colors, those should also be outlined here. The typography. Typography is an invaluable part of the brand's identity. The brand guide should show the exact fonts, sizes, and emphasis approved for use in print and online communications. Details such as formatting for headlines, body copy, headers and subheaders, links, etc. should be included, along with examples. The paper stock is really important as well. Printed material collateral such as brochures, letterhead, posters, buck slips, and flyers may require brand guide specifications such as paper stock. Here, the type of paper, its thickness and weight, or comparable alternatives will be defined. In addition to what was already said, it is important to also include examples of what not to say or do. To ensure that common errors are eliminated, consider including instructions of examples of what not to say or do in branded marketing communications. Imagery will also be a part of your brand materials, so this will be included in the manual. You'll want to make sure that the images appeal to target audiences. So provide a statement outlining the rationale for selected imagery, along with a range of approved image samples. If a library of approved imagery exists, the guide will instruct readers as to how and where this library can be assessed or accessed. Products or promotional item usage. This is another item that should go into the manual, because if your brand has a promotional item or a product, such as signage or vehicles that have already been established, it's important to also include these in the manual. There are additional types of standards that are used besides the traditional brand manual. They include online branding sites, marketing and sales toolkits, CDs, and media relations support. Online branding sites give vendors, employees, and design firms tools and resources for accessing the standards of a company's identity. Online branding sites save time and allow quick access to the information. That information can also be shared and viewed simultaneously by many. You see here for Zoltan that they have given rules for the corporate logo, colors, typography, imagery, legal stationery, marketing materials, presentations, and signage. You can find these brand standard guides online or through the corporate PR rep. You'll also find marketing and sales toolkits. Marketing and sales toolkits are used to manage the brand's identity with independent dealerships and distributors. These can cover things like signage, displays, and advertising. Here is an online marketing toolkit for the Texas Commission on the Arts. It covers everything that anyone marketing or promoting the company would need, including sample ads and templates. CDs are still sometimes used. Many times, because of the storage capacity, companies will put their standards and manuals on CD rather than online. Often they're in PDF format, but can contain templates and design files. We know that this is a format, though, that is becoming less common since many computers don't have CD drives in them anymore. For media relations portals, often companies will have files located on a website that are downloadable. They are often part of the brand manual section of the site. They have extensive usage rights that accompany the artwork. Here we see the media relations portal section of Clemson University website. Notice the variety of formats available for download. There are also sites like brandsoftheworld.com that provide anyone with copies of EPS versions of a company's logos. The logos range from independent and smaller companies to large corporations. Here you'll see the Brands of the World homepage. When doing a simple search for craft, here are the options that I found. Here is the actual page for the traditional craft logo once I selected and clicked on that specific logo for the previous page. Notice how it's in the vector format, and also notice the legal disclaimer listed at the bottom. Promotional items are a big part of a brand's identity. Therefore, translating a brand of products and promotional items is all part of the brand management. It seeks to increase a product's perceived value to the customer and thereby increases brand franchise and brand equity. Brand management is really a part of the visual identity of the brand. This includes things such as packaging, promotional items, and signage. Visual identities are not only important for products on shelves, but they service the brand. This can extend from the layout of the interior of a bank or supermarket to the design of a package such as soap or detergent. Companies like Dyson use the design of the products as well as the company's technology and values to make the product appealing worldwide. Because of this, they were able to dominate an already saturated market. Evian is a great example of the look and feel impacting the visual identity. Their bottle designs are modern and iconic. Because of Evian's overall identity, it became chic to drink bottled water. Advertising can also be a key component to maintaining a brand's identity. The written word is a powerful motivator and influence on a brand's identity. This includes strong copy and advertisements, the impact of the brand in magazines and newspapers, what is seen on television, and billboards. Advertising is a non-personal form of communication intended to persuade an audience, viewers, readers, or listeners, to purchase or take some action upon products, ideals, or services. Many times, advertising is the main vehicle in which a brand or identity is thrust into the mainstream. If we look at the top ad campaigns from some of the most successful companies in the world, it can reveal a lot about how the company has maintained their brand. For example, the top 10 ad companies of the last 100 years, according to adage.com, are listed here. These are numbers 1 through 5. Volkswagen, Coca-Cola, Marlboro, Nike, and McDonald's. We'll look at them individually in a moment. Here's numbers 6 through 10. De Beers, Absolut Vodka, Miller Lite Beer, Clairol, and Avis. When this ad was released in 1959, most Americans and automakers were fixated on long, enormous cars. Beetle's new ads were filled with humor and connected with consumers on a personal level. Two simple words were used that shook the automobile market: think small. Before the crash occurred in 1929, the famous slogan, "The pause that refreshes," made its debut in the Saturday Evening Post. The company launched this campaign under the commonly accepted assumption that men and women work better together if given a few breaks in their workday. Coca-Cola's per capita consumption doubled that year. Developed and used from 1954 to 1999, the Marlboro Man was developed to popularize filter cigarettes to men at a time when they were considered feminine. Dan Whedon of the advertising firm Wieden and Kennedy developed the phrase "Just Do It" for the 1988 Nike ad campaign. Whedon credits the inspiration for the slogan to "Let's Do It," the last words spoken by Gary Gilmore before he was executed. Gary Gilmore was the last man in the U.S. to be executed via a firing squad in 1977. The ad campaign "You Deserve a Break Today" came out in 1971. It was one of McDonald's most successful ad campaigns. Most of the McDonald's advertising is very personal and is aimed at provoking positive emotions in its customers. De Beers have issued "A Diamond is Forever" as their slogan since 1948 and continue to do so as of 2006. The current Absolut campaign, having started around 1980 with photographer Stephen Bronstein and with more than 1,500 ads, the ad campaign is at the longest running ever. The ads frequently feature an Absolut bottle-shaped object in the center and the title "Absolut blank," whatever, you fill in the blank, at the bottom. Beginning in 1971, this was a long-running campaign for Miller Lite. In the prime of the campaign, television commercials typically portrayed a Miller Lite drinker noting its great taste, followed by another who observed that it was less filling. This often featured celebrities. Developed in 1957, what was so unique about this ad campaign is that Clairol hired the advertising firm Foote, Cone and Belding, which assigned the account to a junior copywriter, Shirley Polikoff, who was also the sole female copywriter at the firm. It was her future mother-in-law who inspired the now famous "Does she or doesn't she" catchphrase. In 1963, Avis decided to play on the company's philosophies in order to compete with Hertz, which was the number one leader at the time. It was and is a business philosophy that every Avis employee held true and translated into a successful ad campaign. We'll now review some brand manual examples. Here's an example of the brand manual for Mobil Oil, one of the first visual identities to integrate logo type, icon, alphabet, color palette, and station architecture to create a comprehensive consumer brand experience. Here's an excerpt of the improper logo usage for McDonald's. And here's an excerpt from the NBC Corporate Standards Manual. Here's the Online Marathon Corporate Logo and Media Standards. Here we see different sizes, versions, and procedures for use to keep within the branding standards for this corporation. Here we see the Smithsonian's logo guidelines. They even have a branding book that you can download which explains their brand, how to use their logos, and includes examples of what to do and not to do with their logo and corporate information, as mentioned earlier. Seagate has an online branding portal where you can purchase imagery of products and logos of the company. For example, or for more examples of brand identity manuals, download the zip file located in your week 5 assignment. Or also do an online search. Here's what we covered this week. We discussed the brand manual. We looked at building a brand manual, the importance of a brand manual, what goes into a brand manual, additional types of standards, translating a brand to products and promotional items, visual identities, and advertising.